So we're scheduled for 8. Actually, it won't really matter.
Yeah, may as well go with it right now, and once I send it to you, you can edit all this part out if you'd like to,
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah, so I'll just let you introduce me, and then we take it from there, right?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Well, welcome to episode 23 FMA discussion. Tonight our guest will be Mark Stewart. Hello, sir. Thank you for coming on. How are you?
Fine, man. How are you?
Yeah, it's going. So how are you guys hanging, with the current crisis going on? How's it over there?
Yeah, we pretty much live out in the countryside, so really our lives haven't changed that much other than having to wear masks everywhere that we go. There's not really any kind of a lockdown going on other than there's a curfew. You can't be out after 10 p.m. up until 4 a.m.
Wow, we don't have that yet.
And then, of course, restaurants and bars and cinemas and stuff are all closed down,
Yeah. The mask, it's not mandated, but it's definitely, we're strongly encouraged to wear a mask, and everything that's kind of was construed as non-essential is, has been shut down. Where we're really getting hit hard is, schools. In other words, anything that falls under the umbrella of health club, your gyms, your schools are completely shut down. And they're saying this could go into July, and I just think you're going to see a lot of schools just get.
Hey, I can see this going on for the rest of the whole year, actually.
Yeah, I think some places are going to get annihilated. They're just not going to be able to withstand. So I'm completely empathetic with those people.
Yeah.
But well, I'm glad you seem healthy and you guys are safe and all that being in the country. Just before we get into the actual FMA aspect, when did you move to Thailand? Just out of curiosity.
2001.
Wow, and just more curiosity from my part. Like, what prompted that?
Well, it was always a dream of mine to live in Asia, but I had planned on living in Japan. And I was going to Japan teaching seminars and such, but it's just really difficult to, unless you have a lot of money, to get a start in a place like Japan. So I visited Thailand to do some training at Sidyatong camp in 1994. And I fell in love with Thailand as well. And then, came back and taught my first seminar in 2000. And then basically decided to make the move,
Oh, fantastic. Wow. Yeah, I was always curious because when I found out you realized you lived, I'm like, wow. I'm like, what brought that?
I just like adventure, I mean, if I weren't such an old bastard, I'd go move somewhere else too,
So obviously then you met your wife there and so on and so forth. And
yeah.
Well, besides one of the things that, besides obviously your resume and what you do, one of the things that was, I have to be honest here, that was attractive was your jokes and your choice of music. It is what it is, but that was definitely an attraction.
Yeah, hell yeah. Join the insanity club,
I think it's great.
Embrace your insanity.
Choice of music. I'm like, wow, man, this guy's got a good list. All right, so we're gonna just jump into it. I always like to get kind of like a back. So, we talked yesterday, and you referenced Michigan there. So I guess what was your first FMA experience? I guess what, who, and where?
1979 in Kalamazoo, Michigan, with Guru Edgar Guevara, and he is from Cebu, and he trained with Kakoy Kanyete.
Wow. Okay. So wow.
So he was actually a Shorin-ryu instructor, but he also taught Arnis, Doce Pares, and combat judo, which also combat judo is from the Kanyete group too.
So was that fall under the Escrito?
No, Escrito was a part of what they did as well. Yeah, I guess they had different curriculums that they taught. Yeah.
Okay. Because it's funny you mentioned. I've heard that combat judo referenced over there, and if I'm not mistaken, it seemed like it encompassed more than kind of what you would see over here as quote unquote judo. Is that fair?
It wasn't sport oriented. It was for combat.
Okay, okay, all right. That's kind of what I read, and I found it interesting that the term, combat judo. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
So, how much time did you spend with him?
Geez, from 1979 till up until I left for California in '86.
Oh wow! So then you got. I mean, obviously you went pretty deep. Fair to say. Okay, okay.
No, honestly speaking, to be honestly, I was a kickboxer. I was always a kickboxer, so I enjoyed learning the weaponry, but I really, really didn't get into it and enjoy it until I met Guru Ted Lucay Lucay.
So that okay. So then, I mean, like, did you? I mean, not that it's important or anything. Did you get rank, or you were kind of just doing it as a just
Yeah,
because
actually,
of
yeah,
interest?
there was no rank at the time within his school in regards to the Filipino martial arts, but
Okay, and you obviously. Okay, okay.
he did change over to PKT Tertia, and I trained with Leo Gahe, uh, like I don't know, at least 48 hours of intensive instructor training camp kind of stuff. It was really interesting.
So circa the 80s, the
Yeah,
gentleman you were with
yeah,
first.
80, 81 kind of area.
81. So did you get exposed to Bikini Tertia through the same gentleman?
Yeah, yeah, he became affiliated with Leo Gahe, and then we brought Leo Gahe to Michigan 2 years in a row and did those weekend, 12-hour day instructor training camps, and you basically killed yourself.
Yeah, tons of footwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
How interesting. Wow, what are those two? Because I mean,
Yeah, so that's how I jumped into it. And then before I moved to California, I think it was around '84, Guru Dan was in Lansing, Michigan, and he taught a seminar, and I attended that. So that's my first exposure with Guru Dan is at that seminar, Dan Timlin seminar in Lansing.
Okay, all right, so again, so you're kind of so at that point, were you kind of doing both, or like Doce and Bikini Tertia? I mean, when he switched over, did he kind of just put the Doce Pares on the back burner,
Yes, he
or?
did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. And how did you? Tell me your experience with Leo Gaye. Like,
Well, I mean, he was fascinating. He was, a wild man.
I met him twice, and yeah.
A true warrior, passionate about his thing. He called Arnis the magnificent obsession.
That's okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I was, but yeah, it was great to meet him and to be exposed to that kind of, cut out your opponent's heart and bite it, before he dies.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely prolific and his description and all that. Matter of fact, and what's interesting is you're referencing the '80s, so he was still, he was moving pretty well. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, he was strong and fast.
Yeah, no. I mean, so you're getting it obviously. You got probably his peak as opposed to obviously in his elder years now. So that's so then when he came out these intensive camps you referenced, I mean, the way I hear from everybody who's kind of done these is just that the footwork, you were just pounding out just footwork. Is that what you experienced?
A ton of footwork, but also things like hitting tires for hundreds and hundreds of repetitions with different strokes, and then having split open all the meat on your hands, and then the next day you had to do it again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. My gosh. And yeah, I just heard just to parallel what you're saying, Tom Sos told me when he went over to the Philippines, it was just like early in the morning and you're just going and going and going,
Yeah.
Obviously for the young at heart.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So all right, so you did that. So at what point? All right, so again, I know you said it before, but it was late '80s. When did you move to California?
86, I moved to San Diego. And
so what prompted that? It was just you wanted to change, or?
Well, no, I had always planned to go and train at Guru Dance School. It's just that I had planned to go around 1978, but it took me till 1986 finally to make it there.
Okay.
Actually, it's 87 that I started training at the academy because, like I said, I moved to San Diego first, and then I basically drove up on the weekends to LA, and I stayed with Louis Campos and with Randy Williams over the weekend at their houses, and spent the night and trained Wing Chun and trained Kali and various things with Louis Campos. And then a year later, in '87, I finally moved up to. Oh, actually, I moved to Laguna Beach, which is Orange County. And then I started commuting to the academy, and that's where I met Guru Ted and trained with him at his Saturday class. And then also on Sundays we did private training, and he was there for.
So interesting. So prior to meeting Guru Ted, I understand you're doing with Luis Campos there and all that. Did you actually go to Guru Dan's classes, or were you just kind of just weekends?
No, I did attend some of Guru Dan's phase 1 classes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so basically that was the extent of my training with Guru Dan during that time period in the 80s was phase 1 classes, inconsistently, by the way, because I lived in Laguna Beach. So I was more consistent with Guru Ted. We just hit it off real well, became good friends, and kind of got addicted to his method. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, but I did, when Dan moved from the Marina to the Westchester school, the bigger school, I did attend his Jun Fan class on Saturdays at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So interesting. So now, all right. So you meet Guru Ted. I just because obviously this is the kind of what I want to get into, because I've always heard about him, but never really got to talk to anyone who really had a direct link to him, and or a lot of time spent with him. So you met. So is it fair to say you met him through, or heard about him through Guru Dan? And that's
no, it was Louis Campos. Louis Campos basically has been the conduit to just about everything that I've done martial arts wise. He's been
oh wow, okay,
like an older brother to me, and he's kind of guided me in regards to training and preparing to meet these guys and so on and so forth.
Oh, awesome. So all right, so is it fair to say '87 is when you first met Guru Ted?
Yeah, both Guru Dan and Guru Ted. Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump on to Guru Ted then. Like what you meet him, and what was the initial attraction or whatever?
He had a simple format. He wasn't really into too much complicated material. He was pretty simple, direct, and classical. Classical and non-classical. Simple, direct, classical, and non-classical. And but basically, Guru Ted was about hitting powerfully and doing everything correctly, structurally, powerfully, timing-wise. So yeah, strong, basic, fundamental things.
So where I would definitely go more, but like where was his background? Like I shared what you posted yesterday as far as the lineage is concerned.
Yeah.
So his lineage was his father, Hiron, Cabales, and I think maybe there was a fourth person.
Ben Largusa.
Oh, okay.
Then of course he also trained with John Lacoste as well, but I just ranked I listed the lineages that he was actually certified by, as opposed to all the people.
Oh, okay, because one of the things I hear from, not to jump off, I want to get back to where we were, not to get off subject, but I hear he spent quite a bit of time with John Lacoste.
Him and his wife Tanya at the time, joined Guru Dan and the others to train with all the masters up there in Stockton. So they were right in on it all, yeah.
Man, all those, wow, Lagusa, Cabales,
Hiron. I can't imagine. I'd love to be there, yeah.
Yeah, I know, that's like mind blowing. And then his father, so again, I've heard some things. So his father's system, I guess, what was it? I don't know.
Yeah, essentially it was Villabrea Kali, but then of course he did have other teachers as well. he just called, what did they call them? The old timers. He just trained with some, you know, some old timers, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and they didn't really have a name for their art. They just, you know, they pick up something and do this and do that. And they teach
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, let
And
me show you
so,
something.
yeah, so I mean, it was primarily the Villa Brea system, and then his own fusion of integrating knife tactics and blade awareness into Western boxing. And that's how he came up with,
Ah,
that's how he came up with the term Panantukan, is to describe what he called it at, you know, at the time. Even though Suntakan, he said Suntakan was his first choice, but that it sounded too much like Shotokan.
oh, so he came upon Toucan. Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So then, all right. So when you met Ted and all that, was he teaching outside the academy, or in addition, academy and he had his own like classes? How was that?
Yeah, both. He had both.
Okay, okay. So he
Yeah,
had
so
a spot
he
at
had the
the academy.
Saturday, yeah, the Saturday class. I think that lasted for 2 or 3 years, and then he left the academy at that time, and he opened a school in Santa Barbara for around well, it wasn't his school, but he was the main instructor there at the school for 1 or 2 years in Santa Barbara. And I lived in the San Fernando Valley, so I would just drive to Santa Barbara and train with him there. And I also
Yeah.
opened my first gym in Canoga Park in the valley. And Guru Ted, actually, him and I lived there temporarily at the gym.
Oh, at the school. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
It was kind of like dance school, you know, one of those industrial units, and
Yeah.
so we both lived there for a while.
Hey, wherever you
It
can
was
like,
great, you know, Uchideshi. I was that, you know, we got that real
you
private.
could save whatever. Yeah. So all right. So then at the academy, like, or was he kind of running parallel the same curriculum as he was in his own place?
Yes, yes. Basically, what we did
Okay.
on Saturdays, we did 3 hours straight, and as I recall, it was 1 hour of kung fu, 1 hour of weaponry, and 1 hour of kickboxing.
Oh, so he covered all three.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah.
So wow. So then okay. So let's get into so far as the weapons aspect. You know, I know you just said he separated three things, and it sounds like an hour each. What far as the weapons is concerned, what was his approach? His
Yeah,
focus
he started us out with long range, heavy, long weapon, which were axe handles. And that's how we were introduced with proper structure, mechanics, angulation, sinking, timing, turning, what he called aptique. And yeah, so we started with long, heavy weaponry, kind of the Largo Mono material from Leo Huron, but Ted had his own version that he modified. So Largo just became, you know, a range as opposed to a system.
Okay.
But of course was highly influenced from Leo Huron. Yeah, so that was our what we trained the first year in was basically that very strong, long-range, heavy weapon to integrate those that body feel for us. Yeah.
Mm,
So from then it went into the more middle-range Villa Brea Kali kind of stuff with circling around your opponent, which is called Tayada Mohara, and
okay.
then thirdly would be the close-range tactics from the Serrada.
Cabal. Ah, that makes sense. Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, long, middle, close range, you know, and then the integration thereof, and then of course the blade awareness boxing or the Panantukan, which was a main emphasis along with the Jun Fan in the kickboxing portion of what we did.
So okay. So then, like, how did he have you guys do like a lot of far as I understand he stressed form and to correct technique and rotation and what have you. Did you guys have you do hand hunting a lot, or what? Or like was it like how was this? Was there sparring involved, or was it gradual, incremental?
We always sparred, yeah. Sparring was a big part of what we did, but the sparring, the everything came out of, first of all, solo training or carenza or shadow boxing with prescription combinations, so on and so forth. Then, of course, partner training, which you could call prearranged sparring or attack defense sequences, I attack, you attack, he attacks, da 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 da. And then, of course, the sparring. And the sparring was always what we call limited progressive, or, to where you would isolate certain tools and tactics versus each other, and then eventually put it all together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there was some
different weapons, double weapon versus single, long weapon versus short, all that, the whole gambit,
Oh, how neat. So now, as far as like, so before I get into kind of like the stick boxing and all that, I mean, just stuff I remember seeing like in Black Belt magazine and some other forms of advertisement and all that. And I was always, it always piqued my curiosity. But what I guess what I want to say is that what did he have, like, was there like a syllabus per se, or was it kind of?
Yeah. There was a curriculum outline. I kind
Fantastic.
of followed his direction on that. Some people's syllabus basically is a book, so it might as well be a book. Guru Ted gave us an outline, and you were meant to understand it yourself. In other words, you're not just given everything. You're given an outline, and then your physical hours and your time spent training it gave you the answers. And so that's basically how I teach it as well. You don't really want to give everyone all the answers. You want to, just steer them in the right direction. And then, of course, by your example of the way you move and stuff, they should be able to learn. But yeah, he had a full-on curriculum, yeah.
No, that's awesome. I like that, where he's allowing for self-creation and self-development and expression and all that, instead of having like a bunch of mini robots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like I say, long, middle, and close range, isolation and integration of those tactics, with and without weaponry, and applying the principles. I guess you could call it universal movement, universal principles of mechanics and physics and geometry and things, and applying it to those areas, basically is what it is.
Yeah. So, again, like when I just referenced a couple minutes ago, when I first caught wind of him, one of the things I remember distinctly was, if I had to guess, I'm going to say it was Inside Black Belt or Black Belt magazine. I just distinctly remember him, like he had a stick and a glove. He had a stick in one hand and a boxing glove in the other.
Yep.
And I just remember stick boxing, and this was definitely like late 90s, because I remember telling somebody about him, like, this, I've never seen this before. This looks kind of interesting, like, and so like, did you guys was that something part of what you guys did and all that?
That was something that he was working on before he passed away. But basically what he did, which I found really interesting, and this is what I've tried to continue to do, is follow his lead, is we talk about blade awareness boxing, or having a boxing method that was influenced by the use of the blade, right? But what he began to do after that is actually reverse engineer it to the blade and the weaponry being influenced by the boxing structure and tactics.
Fascinating. Wow.
So yeah,
See,
so that whole dynamic was an interchangeable moving dynamic, and that's what I really loved about how he thought, and I've just continued on that path.
I've never heard that reverse engineering, which you just referenced. I've never heard anybody up to this point even consider that or express that. I'm not saying there's nobody else out there. I'm just saying, but this is the first time I ever heard that, where he looked at it from the opposite. That's so fascinating. So when did, I'm sorry again, when did he pass? What year?
96.
96. Oh my gosh. How old was he?
He was 50, or he was either 49 or just had turned 50. I don't
Still
exactly
young,
remember. I think it was 50, yeah.
So then you would now, so I know, so 87 up to 96. I mean, you were there, right?
Yeah, 9.5 years with him.
Oh man, that wow. For some reason I thought, I knew his death was, I thought it was later in the 90s or whatever. So that, so this is something was more, it wasn't fully developed yet. Is that kind of, but it was coming down the line? Is that?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And so it was, I know you were just talking about the knife, but also he was playing knife, stick, anything like that. So while it wasn't fully developed, was he kind of using the class as the testing ground?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
I think that's what we all do.
I've told
I know I do. I know I do. You know.
They're the they're the test. Well, from you, what was your feeling? What did you enjoy about it?
Well, like I said before, I was always a kickboxer more than anything else, and I think the reason why I eventually accepted and excelled with and started to enjoy weaponry was the fact that Guru Ted was showing how it was the same as the boxing, okay? And at least the way that he taught it, he gave me that relationship and understanding. And so it no longer was two different arts, it was just basically all the same thing.
Fusion. Wow. So is it fair to say, because I mean, I know you had a pretty prolific kickboxing. When you went to Thailand and fought there and et cetera, am I correct?
No, I never fought in Thailand. I just came here to do training. I was already like 36 years old at the time, and my last fight.
You came, so.
Yeah, my last competitive match was when I was 36 years old in California. My last one was a Savate match.
Savate. Oh, interesting. So the majority of your fights, if not all, were in the States?
No, they were international. France, Canada, U.S., a smoker in Japan.
Wow, that's awesome. Wow. So, well, all right. So let's get on to you, because I know you've created something and you got reps all over. So obviously, you got to be doing some great things out there. So did you start your own thing, your own students, or prior to Guru Ted's death? I mean, did you have something already going on and all that?
Not really. I was always under Guru Ted's Temujin Lucay Lucay College Kondo Association. But I had named my gym Boxer Rebellion already when he was still alive, and I kind of used that as a tag name when I did some international seminars. When I taught them while Guru Ted was still alive, it was my brand, you know, but it was still always under his auspices. But yeah, after he passed away, basically I turned Boxer Rebellion International into an association, so to speak. But it's not, you know, it's not one of those formal associations to where, I mean, it's just like a bunch of people that, you know, think the same way.
Yeah, as opposed, right.
Yeah, you know.
So wow, when you just mentioned you did some international seminars and all that, was that more from the kickboxing point?
I always did. I always split them up into 2 days. One day was kickboxing, which would have been, at the time, prior to me getting involved with Ted Long, we would have called it Junfan kickboxing. And so it was, I would teach Junfan kickboxing with a little bit of added things from Savate and Muay Thai and Panantukan on one day at a seminar. And then the very next day would be weaponry, would be Kali's stick and knife.
From Ted. Okay. Oh, neat. So they got a nice blend of both, those who attended both days. Oh, right.
Yeah, and that was primarily in Japan and Singapore at the time that Guru Ted was still alive, as well as my people in Michigan. You know, I had my groups in Michigan that I had during that time as well.
Wow. All right. So then, you know, on his unfortunate passing, is that when you really, then you want, obviously, in his name, wanted to spread his stuff? Is that kind of when you made a more deliberate effort to?
Actually, what happened was is that I had enough of the cross training in 5 or 6 different arts at the same time, kind of thing, and I had basically settled upon the fact of just doing Muay Thai and Kali only. And until I had dinner with Ted Long in Chinatown, and he accepted me as a private student, and he shared with me what I refer to as the latter stage Jeet Kune Do material, which is basically kind of a fencing boxing hybrid with all tools and all targets, but you know, kind of divorced somewhat from the heavy trapping and Chisao type of Junfan curriculum that was done earlier on.
What year was that?
Say again?
What year was that when he took you in?
97.
97. Oh, okay. Wow, wow,
Yeah, so
wow.
I was with Ted Long from 97 till 2010.
Till when he passed, right,
So when he
wow.
passed in 2010, yeah. And so
Because I tell you,
yeah.
yeah, not a lot of people. It's funny because you see most of like Mike JK comes from kind of Bastillo. Obviously Dan. But I don't talk to many people that from Ted Long.
Yeah.
So, what did you I know we're gonna jump off a little script here, but but it's all
Well,
it'll be good.
it'll tie back into it because it's influenced my colleague.
Perfect. So let's do this because I'm really interested in this because I think I've heard like Bob Landers speak on his association time when him and Dwight are fighting.
I'm gonna put some water in my glass here. Hold on.
Yeah, no, sure.
Yeah, so basically what I saw from Ted Long was another example, same as Ted Lucay Lucay. Pretty simple approach, but very detail oriented in regards to structure, mechanics, and physics behind everything. And so the structure and footwork were impeccable. The footwork was explosive and dynamic. Every strike involved footwork. Okay, and when I say when I say footwork, it doesn't mean always taking a full step, but sometimes a partial step or just shifting of body weight. And so that all construes footwork. So it's not fancy footwork, kind of bouncy, jumping around shit, which is fine. It's all good, And but this is basically, tactical, applicable, functional, kick-ass, effective footwork. And
Wow.
and so, yeah, I did that for 14 years, before Ted passed, and at that time period, basically, I had just concentrated on the FMA from Guru Ted, and then Ted Long's Jeet Kune Do. But after Ted Long passed, I started integrating the things that I learned from Ted Long into my weaponry. And boy, it's just given it a huge boost. And so if someone were to look at it, actually, what they would see from it, I've had people comment, they just see a lot of Western fencing in it.
Interesting. That's from
ties back to Guru Ted, because before he passed away, he was studying fencing recreationally, but he also was training privately with an instructor from his was the father-in-law of his student Gary Zuniga. This guy, now I'm forgetting the name. Anyway, I forget the name of the master, but Serafino, Master Serafino. So Master Serafino was a fencer from the Philippines and also inherited an arnis system, and he integrated Western fencing with arnis. And Guru Ted was highly intrigued by it and in doing that just before he passed away. So kind of everything kind of comes full circle,
Wow, interesting. So because again, as far as Ted Long is concerned, I've seen the bits, Bob Landers referencing of him, and when him and Dwight are verbal sparring, But aside from the humor there of those two going on it, I did find a lot of his stuff really interesting. What Landers is talking about, like in reference to Ted Long, and all that, and like how how his hits, his knuckles, and just some of the stuff he was talking about. I just found so. It sounds like you found obviously some compelling things for you to jump aboard and stay with them.
Yeah, well, it's highly challenging to actually do it and to get good at it, and but there's a lot of gems in it. There's a lot of quality things in there. Yeah.
And then as opposed to, like you referenced, not that it's good, bad, or indifferent, but he really focused on, as opposed to sitting there in reference point. I mean, is that fair? I mean, he went kind of,
No, I mean, basically, how can I put this? It was just it was stripped down to its bare essentials. Yeah.
And I'm saying he never, and obviously I know this, I've heard this from many, he never put any other stuff into it, any of the arts or or anything like that.
I would
Is that
say
correct?
that he was following Bruce Lee's direction on the material that Bruce was researching and working before he passed. So let's say from 67 to 71, that time period. And that if Ted Wong added anything to it, it may have been a bit better understanding of Western boxing and how it fits in a modified form into the latter stage JKD. That's my opinion.
Okay, okay. Interesting. So, all right, so let's get to your, I want to get to your system and what you've been doing, obviously. So, your system, I mean, because when I got your message,
Hold on, I gotta let the wolf dog in, and I have to let the wolf dog.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we have this new puppy. It's a husky, and she's pretty big, and so basically she just stick her head through the screen door, you know.
Oh, I love huskies. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, so what we were talking about again? Oh, about what I'm teaching, yeah?
Yeah, I figured now, you know, because I want a lot of time to talk about your system and then obviously cover, you know, how people get a hold of your social media and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So far as so when I got your message, you referenced Optic. Is that what your system is that you got from?
Well, that's what I call it. That's what I call
Okay.
it. And because it's a term that Guru Ted used to describe what he did, and it was kind of like the bread and butter, or you know, it's kind of like what made his style of Lucay Lucay Kali very unique was the emphasis on Optique. And there's different dialects, as you know, in the Philippines, and so people have a different understanding of what Optique means. But in regards to Ted's reference, it was basically body behind the blade, body behind the stick, body behind the punch. So again, similar in theory to the latter stage JKD, which was referenced as a kinetic chain of movement. You know, you link together movements in one movement, so to speak, and you have your entire body behind the movement, and yet still are able to recover with balance and so on and so forth. So
Okay, so being the whole body. Oh,
yeah, so
okay.
I chose that to name what I do, and the reason I did that was because I kind of got away from teaching classical Filipino martial arts in regards to exactly how I learned it. All the movements that I learned from classical Filipino martial arts are still within my system. It's just that I don't train them the same way.
Okay.
I basically train it like everything is trained to be prepared for sparring. It has to be used for sparring, or you won't use it. That's it.
No, no argument here. I just see. Well, I mean, as you know, you can go on Facebook at any given point and you just see some of the stuff that's on there, and you look from the initial feed, like there's no attention. Like I mean, like the guy doesn't even really need to adjust position or even defend, and it's so wrong in my opinion, right from the get-go. You know what I mean? Let alone what follows aftermath, what magic you think you're gonna do. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
So I like what you're saying there, where it's like it's all conducive to sparring. You know what I mean? You know, having intent. As you mentioned, getting that power behind. You know, with the kinetic flow and all that.
Yeah, it's also the thing about actually learning how to recover from making mistakes.
No, which is, I mean, recovery's right. Like when you miss, well,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah,
You better recover.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know. It's funny you mentioned that, and because you're the second person that I've heard your word recovery. I first heard it from David Gould. I've heard counter offensive before. Which from PKT and all that. But when he said recovery, it made just so much sense. And I think it's fascinating that you're on that same wavelength, because you see a light when they miss, they're all back here. It's just like, you better think about pulling that tip from recovering, but
yeah, and it's also it's like people want to look beautiful when they train and look beautiful, right? And that's lovely, right? But you got to be ugly too. You got to do ugly shit as well.
No argument here. Yeah, I don't care about looking pretty. I just want to be, I want to just be effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no, I can't compliment you enough on that recovery. Like that's just, like you see it, like the lower form guys will just cross midline, and now they need to come, and they don't even think about that. Like I don't know if they're just not cognizant, or it's never been like stressed to them. Like, what's your opinion?
I think that some instructors focus on the number of techniques they teach versus the quality of technique that needs to be done.
Ah, good point. Yeah,
But
yeah. No,
that's not to say that the instructors don't have quality. It's just
no,
saying,
sure. No, I got you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just means that they're not emphasizing to teach quality, they're teaching quantity.
As opposed to right, more and more. Yeah, I know. I mean, and you see it on like when these guys are showing these exotic chains and stuff, and it's just like, whoa, But so recover. Wow, I'm fascinated by that. So with your reference to recovery there, I mean, you're taking it all across the board. It sounds like whether you got a knife in your hand, I mean, stick, empty hand, so on and so forth.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, everything. Yeah. It's just about,
Okay.
being adaptable and being able to use improvisation, But
Yeah.
to be able to do that, you do need a base perfected art. Once you have a base perfected art or a couple arts, then you play with it and you start to get a little ugly with it. And I'm not to making fun of the term drunken kung fu, but you have to practice shit sometimes like you're drunk. You have to stumble backwards, stumble sideways, fall down and recover. So without that kind of ugly training, you're never going to really be close to.
No, I can appreciate that. Right. You have to put yourself where, God forbid, you did stumble, or trip over something, and what are you going to do from there? Like, what are you firing back? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No, that makes perfect sense to me. No, I actually really enjoy that. So it's just kind of, I know, you stress the basics and mechanics and all that just from your time with Guru Ted and actually both Guru Ted and Sifu Ted. But so far as like when you're teaching, like whatever your students like now, do you have students currently where you are now, or is it?
I only have private students in Thailand.
Okay, okay, that
And so
sounds that sounds better.
all I do is teach privates and seminars. That's it.
Good on you. You don't have to deal with the group classes.
Yeah, the last gym I had was in Singapore around 2000. Well, I wouldn't call it gym. Actually, I was preparing to open my own gym in Singapore, but was renting space at a Krav Maga studio, and that was in 2008, end of
Okay,
2007, 2008. And so ever since that time, it's just been privates and seminars.
good for you. Wow. And I mean, so for your privates, I mean, so it sounds like you fused, I don't want to say, so you're coming across taking stuff from, concepts from Ted Wong, obviously Ted Lucay Lucay, and then is it pretty much, are those pretty much your two predominantly as far as what you're giving to your students today?
The private lessons are up to the students, and so
All right, so
basically,
whatever they want, okay, whatever they want to work, choose, what have you.
yeah,
Okay,
I have 5 separate curriculums. One is Jeet Kune Do, one is
okay,
Kali, okay, well, Jeet Kune Do, Kali, hybrid stand-up fighting, which is JKD, Panantukan, Muay Thai, Sabat, okay,
okay,
and then Panantukan separately, right?
okay.
And then the last one, the 5th one, I just call Def Tac, which is basically my defensive tactics, combative things that I've shared with law enforcement and military people, security.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so those are the 5 things that I teach, and it's up to people what they want to do.
What they want to get from you. Okay,
Yeah.
right on. What now, as far as the seminars go, do you leave it up to the host what he would like?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And currently, prior to this chaos, where I know it sounded like you had a couple lined up.
Yeah, man, this was going to be a big year, dude. But yeah, I think I had 18 seminars.
Good on you. I know you mentioned Australia, obviously the US. Where else?
Yeah, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Sydney, Australia. Manila, Philippines. Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Um, um, Malmo, Sweden. Detroit, Kalamazoo, Michigan. South Bend, Indiana. Um, where else was I going? Oh, Seattle, Washington, Burlington, Washington. Pleasanton, which is in the Bay Area of California, Los Angeles, Burbank, City of Orange, San Diego, and Austin, Texas.
Oh my gosh.
But that, I don't think it's gonna happen, bro. I don't think.
I'm so sorry to hear. Oh my gosh. Wow.
So like everyone else, like everyone else, I'm doing the online training thing, and so I set up a Facebook group for 24 hours worth of online training, and some people have signed up for that. So we'll see how that goes.
Wow. So, geez. So then, how many reps? So, with these seminars in mind, I mean, obviously, you got you got certified reps that completely represent your system and all that.
I don't really push that anymore at all.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
But to answer your question, I would say about half of them are, and half of them aren't.
So half are just curious of they want to know more about what you're doing.
All of them continue to do the curriculum. It's just that they're using it for enhancement as opposed to joining the club.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Right. If
So in other words, they're just stealing shit. But hey,
in other words, you're going to take my stuff.
Yeah, but hey,
put their name to it.
But they are paying for it, so what the hell,
They're going to put their name and said it's theirs.
Yeah, man. That's the way we'll do it.
Mark who? So okay, let's get your class case, because what I'm hoping is, because when I post this, I'm going to definitely tell everybody, those who might be interested in all that. So what are you doing Zoom? I'm assuming you're doing Zoom. Fair, right? What we're doing here?
Well, I do privates on Zoom, so that's a separate thing. So yeah, I do 60 minutes on Zoom for $60.
Okay.
$60 an hour private, and that's it goes both ways with the shared screen. So, but the other thing is just basically a private Facebook group where people pay one low rate of $60 USD for 24 hours of training.
Wow.
And then
I got to look at that. So what's the offerings?
Yeah, all of those 5 curriculums that I just mentioned to you will be touching upon all of those areas. So I've just been putting out little teasers so far and experimenting with my camera. But it's all going to start on May 1st. But the videos will be up indefinitely on the Facebook group. So it's not just a one-shot thing. They'll be posted over 90 days. Over 90 days, there will be 4 videos per week, and accumulating to a total of 24 hours over 90 days. But then once you're a member of the group, they'll be available to check out anytime.
That is a deal. So basically, you pay $60,
Yep.
and you're gonna get a stream of videos ongoing for 90 days.
Yep. Hey, emergency, man.
I know, but I'm gonna sign up. So how do I access this?
Well, I think the easiest way is just on Facebook, it's called Boxer Rebellion Private Video Training Group.
Okay.
Boxer Rebellion Private Video Training Group. Okay.
Okay.
The easiest way to find all my Facebook shit is basically just to go to my website, which is BRIJKD.com.
BRIJKD.com?
Yeah. And then once you go there, you can, basically click on, it'll take you to all my Facebook stuff.
Okay. So, and this is starting May 1st.
Yep. But people are registering now. They need to pay before May 1st. If they start after that, they'll need to friend me on Facebook, because it's the only way I can add them to the group.
So how's the response been so far?
Oh, good. Yeah, I've got the minimum amount of people I needed to get it going, and Yeah, looks pretty good.
Oh no, I'm glad to
All
hear
set to
that.
go.
No, no. Yeah, I definitely get it. I mean, for $60, I mean that's,
It's a good deal.
oh my God, yeah. I'm gonna be spreading that like wildflower.
Right on.
Yeah, no, that's you can count me in. So no, when I go to your site, I can get, it'll kind of direct me where I need to go. What are you doing? What, PayPal?
Yeah, PayPal. Yeah.
And that's all that information will be there too?
Yes, sir.
All right, PayPal. That's fantastic. So wow, I think that's an incredible deal. So where are you, let's get into what's your, I mean, I know it's gonna be hard to tell because God knows when this whole mess is gonna end. I mean, I guess, but what's your future goals? Like far as, I mean, I know we're talking, there's more focus on FMA, but just in general, like what are your future goals?
In general, each year I kind of move closer and closer to my curriculums being more and more like combatives in regards to being streamlined into effectiveness as much as possible.
So I tell you, wow, that's so interesting because I just had a talk with a couple guys, and it's just like we were looking at like empty hand against knife and all that, and we were kind of like, wait, is this more combatives or just more FMA? And it was heading towards more combatives, the 2-on-1 and what have you and all that. So I just find that interesting that you're kind of also heading that direction.
Yeah, But also on the other hand, I don't know if this will ever happen, but I would love the opportunity to train some pro fighters, some up and coming pro MMA fighters.
Oh, nice.
But I want to introduce them to ladder stage JKD because no one really knows what it is. And it has so much benefit, as well as Panantukan, by the way. Those two things, what I call blade awareness boxing and what I call fence boxing. Fence boxing, right? That's my term for JKD is fence boxing. And those two categories, if I had a chance to train someone, even train a boxer, a kickboxer, an MMA guy, I would just love to see what they could do with it in the ring.
So, it's funny, like when you look at, like, overall, just from your perspective, when you look at like MMA today, like the fighters and what have you, as far as like the stand-up game, maybe clinch, what, like, in your opinion, coming from a fighter and obviously all these, disciplines, all that, what do you find, what do you think is missing? Or they could improve upon, or whatever.
They're doing pretty damn good, actually, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some top fighters that are just about, I mean, I wouldn't have too many complaints about them. But I would say that if you watch a boxer like Vasyl Lomachenko.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, well, that to me is Ted Wong JKD. That to me is ladder.
That guy is
that to me is ladder stage JKD. And so.
Is that right?
Yeah, that it just fits everything that I've learned from Ted. And
just that hitting on every movement.
Yeah, I mean, you're great footwork, great timing, hitting from all positions and angles. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
He is something, that guy. It's like the Matrix.
Yeah.
I just don't see that guy getting beat anytime soon. I don't know. That guy's just, Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is that I think some MMA fighters would do good to kind of watch Vasyl Lomachenko and try to model their style around him and apply it to MMA.
No, it's funny. It's interesting. Like you would think some of these guys would, like you said, some of them are doing incredibly well. But you think some of them would be like, hey, I should maybe go check this guy out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just, I don't know if if there's just resistance or they just, it always made me wonder, like,
Yeah, you know what, they have to be, I mean, if they're critical thinkers, they'll be aware of it. Or if their coaches are critical thinkers, they'll be aware of it. But, some of the coaches are just stuck in their own methods and.
Yeah, they get, like religion, they just can't, no, I don't want to hear it. I just, so then like when you referenced before, like how you would like to, teach and coach some MMA fighters, would that be kind of like your model of like where to get to would be Lomachenko or like, that kind
Yeah,
of?
I would say that'd be the starting point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think for
Jeez.
that to happen, actually, getting back to your question about what my plans are, I still have a plan to open a training camp here in Thailand, basically a Muay Thai camp.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't mean I'm going to be teaching Muay Thai. That means that the camp basically is primarily Thai trainers teaching foreigners Muay Thai, but we would also have other disciplines available like MMA and grappling and JKD and Kali as well. So we'll see what happens. I just need to save some money.
That'd be fantastic, though. I mean, because obviously the Thai over there speaks for itself, but something where I don't know if kind of a catch-all place would be the right description, but something where you can go and get other disciplines there, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine there's not that many Kali or JKD people there. Am I mistaken?
Well, in Bangkok, there's plenty of everything, but I live about an hour east of Pattaya, which is on the Gulf of Thailand, on the eastern seaboard of the Gulf of Thailand, and there's an international airport here called Utapao, and Utapao used to be the U.S. Air Force base during the Vietnam War.
Okay.
And so it's expanded now, and so our whole area is in expansion mode, and so it would fit in really, really nice down here to have something down close to the Utapao airport.
Oh, so you're saying, so the area you live, it's virtually currently nothing?
No, it's basically a Thai naval community. But it's not densely populated. It's half countryside, half villages, half kind of small city. And it's all coastal. It's coastal. It's a little bit like, it's a little bit like Orange County. Have you been to Orange County at all?
Years and years ago.
Yeah. But not as densely populated. But if you could figure like Orange County or San Diego 50 years ago, then it's probably pretty close to that.
Oh, so somewhere like if you got something going, it would be kind of maybe like the only show in town, so to speak.
Yeah,
Initially?
it's the time to do it because right now the land prices are still cheap, and the way to open a gym here, it's no air conditioning. Basically, it's outdoors except for the roof and the floor. It's called a sala, or it's like a gazebo kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And then basically you just get fans and put the rings in and rock and roll and ready to go.
Oh my gosh, that would be well. I hope that works out. For you, that would be awesome. Any other like far as like, so we got goals. Are you maybe one day training some people?
The only other thing is
place?
I would like to get more countries in Europe. So far, I only have Sweden on my seminar circuit. So I would like to pick up three or four more spots.
You should be able to get. Between Spain, France, and Italy, when all blows over. Germany, gets
Yep.
gets something.
Right on.
Yeah, especially if you get people in Sweden giving you some, some good words, to spread out, throughout Europe,
Yeah.
that would be. So what, so far as like, through your Facebook offering and all that, how can people, what's the best way to get a hold of you? I guess if those who would be interested in this offering, this cheap offering, which I think is fantastic, and also just maybe, again, when this all blows over, what's the best way? Facebook?
Yeah, the best way is Facebook. Yeah. Just go,
Okay.
just go on to it. I have a ton of Boxer Rebellion groups. And of course, the main page is called Boxer Rebellion International Martial Arts.
Yeah, that's the main one. Then you got ones there for Australia.
Yeah, for the different groups and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So you just track me down on there, and you can find me.
And the website, I just want to make sure I got this correct when I post it. When I get all this, BRIJKD.com.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. And then that will lead everybody to PayPal information, what have you. May 1st is when you're actually going to be starting this.
Yeah.
$60. It's going to run 90 days.
Yeah.
That's man, and which would be included in the 5 disciplines which you referenced.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, we're up to an hour. This was fantastic. I really appreciate it, your time and all that.
Thank you, Dean. I
know people
appreciate
are
it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, there was stuff I wanted, a couple things. One, I found you of interest. One, the time with grew with Ted, and two, watching all your videos and something, I knew there was a different flair there, or different, merging of stuff. So I wanted to get more clarity on exactly what you're doing and what you're pulling from and all that. And I just love the fact that you add recovery into the whole thing like that, because I'm telling you, not all systems do.
Yeah.
So, but well, hey, I hope stay safe.
Yes, you too.
Hopefully we'll get, we're gonna get through this, I hope.
Yeah, let's try to meet up sometime, if we can.
Oh my God, I would love that. Yeah, I tell you, Thailand has come up. Burton was talking about doing something there.
Yeah.
Who else? And Tom Sodas has his camp.
Yeah, he has it right. He has it about an hour away from us. Yeah, every August.
Have you gone? Have you ever checked it out? No.
Not to participate, just to go meet him and say hello and kind of watch and have a few beers.
Oh, so you have met him?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's cool. Tom's cool.
Good. Oh my gosh! I'm part of the ring. I'm part in the ring there, and
right on.
Yeah, he's no argument here. I mean, he's like you, kind of that do everything rebel, not following that robotic line. All that. That's the guys I really like. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but yes, absolutely. But again, I want to thank you, and I hope everything continues to go well for you. I'm definitely share, well, not on your website, but this whole thing for $60. Man, that's cool. I'm gonna tell all my buddies that's a deal. 90 days. That's crazy.
Okay, man, thank you so much. And so I'll be sending you that email so you have all this stuff. Yeah.
Oh no, that'd be great. No, that would be helpful. Thank you.
All right, Dean. Take care, man.
All right. Thank you again, sir.
Cheerio.
All right.